Kevin Hester, you are ridiculous.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, we crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Shut up. See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
Hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans.
This is the Barely Qualified Podcast with your hosts, Nick Labris, Jason Maxwell, and Drew Bailey.
Hey there, Bears fans and everyone else. Welcome back to another episode of Barely Qualified. I am Drew Bailey. Joining me, as always, are Jason Maxwell and Nick Labris. We're here to break down all things Bears, take a look around the NFL, and as always, have some good times with some great people. We're going to try to gas it up for you here, DQ Army, because I'll tell you what, it was not pretty watching that game yesterday, and they are not trending in the right direction. But after a brutal Rikishi from Dan Campbell and the Lions, the Bears can either turn tail and run from the 2025 football season or lick the wounds, prepare for a run that they've never seen before, and take the rest of the schedule game by game. So we'll break down the week and the game for you. But first, we've got a new sponsor from our own Nick Labris, and he's going to tell you who the episode is sponsored by.
Yeah, so really excited about this one. This one is a business based out of my area. So Barely Qualified is proudly fueled by the fizz of Glenrock Pop, Lake County's legendary soda revival. Crafted with pure cane sugar, poured into classic glass bottles, and bursting with nostalgic flavor, Glenrock is more than a drink. It's a hometown icon. Whether you're sipping on orange, cream soda, or my personal MVP, the all-new lime, Glenrock is bringing the joy back to every corner of Lake County. Want to catch their pop-up trailer in action? Follow Glenrock Pop on Facebook for their latest event stops. Ready to stock up? Head to glenrockpop.com and find retailers near you. From tailgates to game days, Glenrock Pop is the ultimate sideline sip. Don't just drink, celebrate.
Awesome.
I brought some samples over to the boys earlier. Really excited to kind of get going with this company. So anyway, let's get into the show.
Yeah. A lot to break down. I'm excited to bust in. I think it's going to be a pop that I don't mix. I want to just try it itself. Probably worthwhile tasting. Jay was telling us just before this, he got his hands on some of that lime. So excited about that for sure.
Unbelievably good. Highly recommend. Great read, by the way, Nick.
Yeah,
great read.
Yeah, I can read. It's it's been proven now. I've struggled through a few of these, but we can read. So anyway. All right. Let's get the laughing out now so we can get into the crying. We're gonna talk Bears, Lions recap. Full disclosure, boys, you guys know this, but for listeners out there, my son is in a fall baseball league, and his game was on Sunday at noon. So I was watching on my phone with just the worst glare I've ever seen in my entire life, while trying to also be an attentive father. So I didn't see most of the first half, and then I turned it off in the third quarter and watched Red Zone. But anyway, we're going to break it down regardless, because that's what we do. That's what you come here for. So let's see. Let's start positive, I guess. I don't know. There wasn't a ton of it, so let's dive into it. First positive right off the bat, Bears score an opening possession touchdown. That's good.
Their first drives have been good.
First drives have been good. Ben Johnson's scripts are working, so that's good. Roma Dunze kind of transitions into another bullet point we have here for the positives. Roma Dunze looks like a legit NFL wide receiver. Could be the eventual wide receiver one. I was actually talking to a friend of mine, just commiserating and talking about the Bears. And one of the positives that we said was like, this might, Roma Dunze's emergence as a dude might actually, this might kind of have some interesting decisions on like DJ Moore in the next coming years, whether you kind of cut him loose, or if you keep him or whatever you want to do there. But regardless, Roma Dunze first possession takes a pass from Caleb Williams over the middle, gets upfield, scores a touchdown, and gets everyone really excited. 7-7 game. We got the whole season in front of us. Bears look like they came to play today. And then from there, just an absolute pile of stinky poo. Before we go on any further, I don't know, guy, like, how are you guys feeling when it's 7-7? Drew, you were like watching, locked in. What were the emotions at when the Bears tie the game at 7-7?
Yeah, so telling you a little bit about what I was doing yesterday. So getting ready for the move, we were doing a deep clean of the basement. Thus, I was taking the rug doctor to the basement by myself, watching the game, and was so excited, clapping, yelling, and people came downstairs to see what I was doing, obviously not doing the job I was assigned. And I had hope. It looked good. It was the same thing as last week. Is we had a good drive. So, and even then, after that, we forced a punt from the Lions and had the opportunity to go up. So the rest of the first quarter, it seemed like we were holding on to hope and being able to run with this team until the end of that quarter. And I'm going to let you keep going so that, we don't get into too negative too quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Jays, and like, how are you feeling when the Bears tied the game and looking like, hey man, we kind of came to play today. This might be a little bounce back week from the way last week ended.
It was such a clean drive, so it's like there was reason for hope, because obviously the Lions had a very clean drive too. And it's like, well, here we go. And then the counter punch was reason for optimism. And then everything just collapsed, and it was just brutal. I mean, listen, Rome scoring under the 2-minute warning is like, all right, we can stay competitive here. I'm grasping at straws trying to stay positive, but I had hope for the first quarter. And in the first quarter, in the first half of the first quarter, I was like, all right, we might be able to do this. And then 52-21,
Yeah, it got out of hand quick. Couple other just things. Running game looked good. DeAndre Swift looked good. Almost 5.5 yards per rush. So you'll take that every day. And then just in terms of Ben Johnson's like sideline demeanor, seemed like it's kind of an unusual thing for Bears coaches. Usually we just have like an absolute just like rock on the sidelines who doesn't change facial expressions or talk at all or get excited. This goes back to, honestly, probably back to like maybe like Dave Wannstedt, definitely Mike Ditka. Like this is like before we were really big Bears fans, before we could really knew what we were watching. Because you got your Dick Durans, you got your Lovie Smiths, you got your whole bunch of the clown car after Lovie Smith. What was his name? The CFL guy.
Yeah.
Mark Trestman.
Trestman. Yeah, the nerd.
What a goofy guy. So having a head coach on the sideline that is not trying to be Mr. Stoic all the time. I like that. I feel like the fan base likes stuff like that. With that being said, I did mention Dave Wannstedt's name, and I didn't know a lot about Bears football when I was a kid, but I just knew that my dad hated Dave Wannstedt, and I think it's just because he wasn't Mike Ditka and they weren't winning Super Bowls anymore. They're going to the playoffs. So that can change quick if the Bears don't start winning games. But I do think, generally speaking, that's a good thing, right? You want to see a passion, fire out of your leader. So that's good. I'll take that as a good. We're really struggling here for positive bullet points, guys. Bloodbath. So,
well, in that vein, I think I listened to a few things. I listened to Caleb talk today. Ben Johnson's pissed. Like
he should be.
Audibly, visibly, emotionally, like he's pissed. He should be, but he's not. In my mind, it's not to a point of being pissed of like, I'm going to call out guys publicly. Yeah. I'm going to like, it just looks like he's as emotionally frustrated as Bears fans are. So like you can relate to a person like that, and you can relate that since he's a smarter person than I and us, and he's gotten to a point in his life where he can command and coach men. It seems like, yeah, I'm feeling like the guy is right for the job more and more each day, even when you get drubbed 52 to 21.
Yeah, that's agreeable. That's agreeable. I think it'll take some time. I mean, obviously, as we've seen, we started out 0-2, just got whooped. So I don't think you can really say anything other than it's going to take some time. But seems like the right guy for the job. And I think we can, when we get into the negatives, talk about personnel and player. But to say on the positive side, I mean, you know me, I'm very hypercritical of Caleb and have been for a while. I thought he showed a little bit of progress from week 1. You know, the opening drive looked clean. The first half looked clean, and then it was just a game script that was out of control. So I think you can put a little bit of that on the defense. Obviously, he still looked out of control at times and just completely confused, but it looked cleaner and tighter. So I think, you know, when we're looking at negatives and positives, I think we're kind of hyper-focused on the offense, as we should be in Caleb's development, and that at least looked decent. It didn't look decent. So if I'm grasping at straws trying to take a takeaway, I'd say it looked like Caleb was progressing in the right direction in that game, at least in the first half.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think that's all we can ask for, right? We're not, if you're expecting a quarterback in his 19th start in the NFL and his third offensive coordinator / play caller, whatever you want to call Ben Johnson in this instance, if you expect him to go out there and not make any mistakes at all, like, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. All we can do is hope that he takes things, you know, it's not going to be a straight linear line up, but as long as we're trending in the right direction, I think that's really all we can ask for. And I agree with you. I think Caleb played well in the first half when it was a game, and then the second half when things got a little out of control, which, you know, admittedly, part of the reason it got out of control is because of a bad interception that we'll talk about later. But, you know, when the game was still in reach, I thought he was playing fine. The one last thing I want to talk about, because this wasn't a positive, but it was something when I was thinking positively in the game that I think it warrants some discussion. That officiating issue at the end of the first half was like some JV fucking bullshit stuff that you don't expect to see in the NFL. For the listeners, if you didn't see it, with about maybe 12 seconds left or something like that. Lions rookie Tesla, I believe is how the pronunciation. Tesla, when he caught a ball on along the sideline with 12 seconds left. The refs initially called him out of bounds, I believe. So anyway, somehow
they called him out of bounds, and then they ran the clock, and then it was supposed to be end of the half.
They called him out of bounds, but then the clock still ran. So the Lions spiked it with 1 second left. They were going to kick a field goal. But instead, the refs realized that they made a mistake and that he wasn't out of bounds, but they already stopped the clock, but then they restarted it. So then they had to do a 10-second runoff, which gave the Lions still 6 seconds left or something, and they scored a touchdown. Anyway, Bears are going into the break down 28-14 instead of 24-14, which doesn't seem like that big of a difference, but I don't know. I think that it definitely led to the spiral.
21-14 was a huge, and getting the ball to begin the second half. So you're looking at that optimistically versus being a two touchdown game, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. So then, Bears get the ball first drive and then proceed to turn the ball over, whether turnover or on downs, 3 straight possessions. And the Lions capitalize on all 3 possessions, turning a 14-point lead into a 35-point lead in the blink of an eye. And they just didn't take their foot off the gas. So anyway, we'll dive more into the negatives now, because I think that we've exhausted all the positives from this game. But before we really dive into specific players and stuff, just generally speaking, the defense, right? I mean, that's where the negatives start and honestly kind of end, because you score 21 points in an NFL game, you expect to be relatively in the game. Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. You don't expect to be down by 30 points and put up 21 points. So the defense, we go into this game, we're optimistic because we're getting TJ Edwards back, we're getting Jalen Johnson back, we're getting some depth to our secondary. We saw a decent pass rush. Side note, the Vikings might just be one of the worst teams in the NFL besides the Bears because we'd start doing this I don't know what the word is, but like where you try and base other teams' performance off of similar teams they've played, right? Like transitive property almost.
Yeah.
Where the Packers beat the Lions, so the Lions suck, and then the Lions beat the shit out of the Bears. It's like, oh fuck, the Packers are really good. But then you look at the Vikings, and you're like, man, the Vikings are fucking ass because the Bears should not have been in a position to be blowing leads in that game against the Vikings. But side note, the defense, I mean, every single time I started to kind of be like, all right, just get a stop, put the ball in the end zone, we're good. Jameson Williams is running wide open down the middle of the field, or Amon-Ra St. Brown is scoring his third touchdown of the game, or whatever. Like the secondary, and this isn't even like game plan issues, right? Because this just looked like broken coverage after broken coverage after broken coverage. I know, you lose Jalen Johnson early-ish, and it seems like we're going to lose him for the rest of the year, possibly. Definitely technically he's out indefinitely, but it sounds like it's going to be the rest of the year. TJ Edwards also didn't finish this game. Down Kyler Gordon already. So secondary is definitely, again, punching. They're out of their depth a little bit because you're playing backups against an elite wide receiver core, an elite offense. But man, the communication is just a problem. I don't know. Like there's, and it might just be because it's their first real road game and the first real crowd noise, but that's got that. They need to go to hand signals or something because whatever they're doing was not working. And I don't know about you guys, but I have no faith in this defense right now whatsoever. The Cowboys are going to put up 6,000 yards against them.
Yeah, they are. I mean, 0 sacks, minimal pressures. The secondary was supposed to be a strength, and that's obsolete. There's no strength on that defense. I mean, J.J. McCarthy's carving you up last week in the second half. He stinks. Jared Goff looked like a Hall of Famer, and that's what happened. You can't get pressure on a quarterback with base packages or blitzes. Like, what are you expecting is going to happen? And this is what happens. So it's what are we playing? Like powder puff in the front four? There was no pressure. What was nice about the Vikings game was we can rush for and get pressure. That was the farthest thing from the truth in this Lions game. I mean, Jared Goff was having a tea party back there. He was setting up a picnic and doing whatever the hell he wanted. And I mean, listen, the reason why Jameson Williams had 2 catches for 104 yards was because you have 3 or 4 seconds to let those routes develop, man. It's like, everything about the defense is, I mean, you can't allow 52 points and then have anything good to say about the defense. But that was just an absolute butchering against a very flat front. And that was the main concern going into the season. It's like, okay, we know what our deficiencies are. And you know what? I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. Sorry, but you're gonna use your top 10 pick, your 10th overall pick in Loveland and not target him once in the game whilst we have glaring holes on the defensive line. Someone explain that to me real quick. And
I can explain to you. They drafted somebody in the second round named Shamar Turner. Shamar Turner, who has not seen the field yet.
Yeah, our first and second rounder this year have not contributed at all to this football team. So that's not good.
Oh, we have.
Let's not get too deep on that rabbit hole.
We're gonna go deep into polls because that's a big negative, and this is what we call a tease in the business because we're gonna talk about that later. That's all me and my friends have been talking about is polls. It's all over the internet. It's all over Bears Twitter. So we're gonna dive into that. So you save that fire for later. We got that. But so the one thing I'll say about the secondary, and again, they were atrociously bad, just awful, is that, like you said, Jay, when you can't generate any kind of pass rush whatsoever, your secondary doesn't stand a chance. All pro safe secondary doesn't stand a chance if they have to cover for 4 or 5 seconds. That's just not good. That's just not how you play defense. Yeah. So, I mean, Drew, I mean, I don't know if there's much left to be said about the defense, but if you, like, what are your thoughts? Like, what did you think about the defense on this game? Like, do you think moving forward, do you have any optimism for this defense? It seems like everything got worse.
Yeah, it totally did. But you're definitely the same negativity that I have about the defense is like, I do have some optimism is Detroit was outmatched in its week 1. In its defense that it matched up against week 1. And yes, we are not the Green Bay defense. They were taking things out seemingly on us. And maybe we have a little bit more of a shot against some of the lesser opponents that we will get. Maybe not Dallas this upcoming week, but certainly possibly the Saints and some others to justify what our team can do. I'm concerned about Dennis Allen, though, because of the fact that this dude might go crazy with the amount of people that are just cycling through his defense, and he doesn't know how to coach them. But what I just want to finish on with the defense is I don't know what they can stop, because the run was that good that set up the play action to just gash in passes. But it's got to be something. It block one facet of the game, please. Stuff the middle if you have to stuff the run a bunch, and then if you get gashed by deep passes, okay, at least we know that's a problem and we can solve it. But something like this where everything just works and you average almost 9 yards a play, 500 yards, 52 points on 58 plays can't be done. Can't happen anymore. So figure it out in one facet at least. You know, how do you eat an elephant? In chunks, in small bites, multiple bites. Just get one thing right, please.
And maybe start by not running man coverage against a non-blitz like front 4 that can't pressure the quarterback. Like the whole defensive scheme was bizarre to me too. Your personnel's lacking and your scheme was atrocious given everything that was getting burned. Like try something new. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the defense was. Every time the Lions touch the ball, you're like, oh, they're going to score here. So. Yeah. Hope you have.
But hey, Montez Sweat got a sack on the. No, he didn't again. It was nowhere to be seen in the game again.
I think Montez Sweat did get a sack, but it got called back due to a penalty, which will kind of take me into my next bullet point here for negatives. Not just penalties, but just negative plays in general, right? We had 8 penalties, 4 sacks in this game. A lot of the sacks did come when the Bears were trying to play catch up. So I'm not so worried about the offensive line, but what I am worried about is 2nd and 35s, which there was at least one of. When we're looking at 3rd and 10 plus on a regular basis, we have a problem. The penalties have to stop. This team is not good enough to overcome any kind of penalties whatsoever. They're just not. Bad teams make penalties because it makes getting first downs harder, or it makes stopping a team on defense harder because you're giving them free yards and free first downs. The first thing you need to do, even before you go in and you look at the defensive scheme and you try and figure out the best way, the first thing you do is you gotta nip these penalties in the bud, because this is one of the biggest problems with the team. We led with the defense because they gave up 52 points. I think that is justified, but I honestly think the penalties are the bigger issue for the team in general. Yeah. When you have a quarterback who is on his 2nd year, you can't expect him to make 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9 every single time. You need to get some, it's play ahead of the sticks, right? You can't be. It's just these negative plays ruin drives, and therefore just get the ball right back to the Lions, who can then just put more points on. So it's just, I don't know. The penalties need to stop.
It's never good when you put up a graphic I don't know if you guys saw that graphic because it was late in the second half that they were showing it, that it was like Bears down in distances that they've encountered this game, and it was like 2nd and 24, 3rd and 35. Like I've rarely seen a 2nd and 43. That was a mark this game. Like that's terrible. And you rarely to add on with what you were saying, Nick, is there aren't plays in the playbook for those.
No.
You don't dream that up. You're not sitting there in front of a blank sheet of paper saying, "Yeah, this'll get me 3rd and 30." I definitely that'll have success. So yeah, this was 4 sacks, another 8 penalties. This cannot be consistency through the rest of the season. And I hope to God that Ben Johnson is just harping on that. That's his number one harp on, like you were saying, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those questions where, like, if you're gonna be the cause of these penalties, you have to play less at a certain point. Like, even if you're a solidified starter, you have to enforce the culture that we will not accept a lack of discipline, and that's what it is. It's just a lack of clean football discipline, and that's day one stuff. I mean, that's high school stuff. You can't do that. The Bears have 20 penalties this year. That's second most in the league. I mean, for a bad football team, the only chance you have, like you said, Nick, is to reduce those at least by half.
Yep.
Well, don't worry. Our backup tackle has been a healthy scratch too. So
third rounder,
take out Darnell or Braxton, healthy scratch.
Well, which one are you talking about?
Talking about Ozzy.
Both of them.
Ozzy, yeah.
Well, Ozzy and Kieran. Both of them.
Kieran on the depth chart is the backup guard right now, so he's not even playing tackle anymore.
So our other second round pick this year also contributing, not at all.
Yeah.
Again,
correct.
Tease for polls.
Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, look, the penalty stuff, like, I don't want to say it's an easy fix because it's not. Like, it takes discipline. But the process to kind of eradicate that from your team is simple. You just drill it into their heads. Everything. This should have been, I mean, I'm sure it was. I don't know why it's not sticking, but this should be training camp stuff, like OTA stuff. This is stuff that you shouldn't have to waste precious practice time during the week working on when you're in the middle of the season. You should be installing your plays and making sure your plays look, smooth. But again, you have to walk before you can run. So dedicate an entire day of practice to making professional athletes not jump off sides.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Take a lap.
It sounds dumb, but I do think that I would imagine that a professional athlete has pride in their abilities where it would be frowned upon for them to have to practice like that. But if they're going to keep jumping off sides, make them. And the only way that I know how to make them better at this is to make it hurt the whole team when they screw it up in practice. Make the whole team have to sit there, make the whole team have to run if they don't get it right. Make the whole, that's the way that's the best way to simulate pressure is, in practice. There's not really a way to simulate, 75,000, 80,000 people screaming at you, but the pressure you feel about oh shit, I don't want to have to make everyone run another 110 or whatever. Then that's the only, it's like a basketball team when to practice the pressure for free throws. It's if you miss this free throw, everyone's got to run suicides. And it's that's the way you simulate the pressure. And that's the only way. I mean, I'm not an NFL coach, but that's how I would do it is hey, we're going back to the basics, boys. Do you guys want to play like a JV football team? I'm going to treat you like a JV football team.
Amen on that.
Fundamentals.
Yeah, fundamentals.
Fundamentals. Middle of the season. Anyone got that movie?
Nope. Not a chance.
Really.
All right.
What was that?
No, I'm sorry. It's Angels in the Outfield.
Okay.
Oh, haven't seen that movie in 30 years.
The question that I have just really quickly is there's also got to be something that you can do from a standpoint of non-complex snap counts or simpler things, because at the same time, you see the way that they're having success when you have the basic stuff or scripted plays in the first series, or when they're playing, not catch up football, but when they're playing, kind of playground football at the end of the half, or like in other instances when the game's out of reach, like they're not doing those things. Maybe it's the crowd noise, maybe it's something along those lines, but like you saw it in game 1, you see it in game 2. It's the continued understanding in the middle of the game, like what is the problem? Where is the problem? And like you gotta simplify things too at that point, because it seems like these guys are at a 3rd grade reading level.
Yeah, and I mean, last week inexcusable at home. That's inexcusable, right? Like you can't have procedural penalties at home like that. But like when you're on the road in a loud environment like Detroit, you're probably going to a silent count, which gets you're kind of moving on first movement, which gets you a little jumpy. It's a little more understandable, but still at the rate the Bears are doing it, it's not okay. You get 1 a game for the entire team. You get 1 a game is basically what it comes down to. You don't get 5 a game. 5 a game is too many. So, I mean, when they're at home, Drew, I agree with you 100%. I don't know what the hell was going on in week 1 against the Vikings at home. That's, again, inexcusable. Road games, it's tricky, but you have to be a professional. You have to be better. It's of all the things we ask an offensive lineman to do, not moving until the ball moves is one of the easier things. So it's like we should probably really master that before we, before anything else. It's not giving me a lot of confidence that can't be mastered.
Nope.
All right. So injuries, I've touched on them. All the guys that were injured are still injured or worse off injured. So bad. Let's kind of dive into let's point some fingers here, boys. Let's do that. We're not on the team. We can point as many fingers as we want.
I live
hand
for
up
this.
really quick.
Oh yeah, Drew.
There is one thing that we haven't really said. We've said it in multiple stats and multiple things. You do have to give credit where credit is due of the Lions.
No.
I know we don't want to. They had a horrible week 1. They came back at home. Clearly, when we alluded to this in the preview show, like this game meant more to them than it did the Chicago Bears. Meant a lot to them. You saw them when they were celebrating even first downs, when they were celebrating turnovers, when they were celebrating touchdowns. It seemed personal, like it was against Ben Johnson and kind of a show-off mentality. But you don't have a performance like that in the NFL, and it's a mistake. They did things well, and a lot of us, we did have picks towards our end of the season predictions that the Lions would be up there. So they are who we thought they actually were.
Yeah,
and
fair.
They kicked the shit out of us, and well deserved. Hats off to you. Hopefully it's not going to happen twice this year.
Yeah. There is actually, Drew, I'm glad you brought that up, because there is one thing I want your guys' opinion on. So 4th quarter, game is out of hand. Lions have a 4th and goal from like the 7-yard line. They decide to go for it, and they score a touchdown on the play. So I ask you guys, fair or foul? Like, yes, I don't know. Like, do you guys have any problems with that? Jay, is there any issues with this?
No, there was a clip from Ben Johnson too. He was asked specifically about that. He said, what do you want them to do? I mean, that's what the Lions do. That's what they're going to do. This is professional football. Running up the score. This is the NFL. Welcome. Yeah. If you got a problem with it, don't get paid money to play it, or stop them. And I have no problem with it, because that's what I would want to do if we were in the same position. And you make a statement. And honestly, I think it was a smart move anyway, just strategically, because you're either going to score a touchdown or you're going to pin the Bears on the 1 or 2 yard line anyway when the game's basically done. So what's the point? So, but I mean, I think it's also a statement, an exclamation point for the Lions in an emotional game, and I have no problem with it. I think what offended me more was the complete lack of coverage on the play. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 10 yards wide open on what routes are you going to run? Not an out right over the goal line. Like, no one's there. So like, just, tighten that shit up.
Yeah. Yeah. Drew, I mean, do you have any issues with the Lions, quote unquote, running up the score at the end of the game?
No, I number one have an issue with whoever the reporter was that asked that question.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Yeah,
we're all in the same boat. We've seen what they've done. Ben Johnson has taken over some of that mentality of going for it on fourth and being aggressive play calling from Dan Campbell. So like, what I would have said if I was Ben Johnson is, what else did you expect, sir? Like,
yeah, it's basically what he said too.
Put your pencil back in your pocket. What else did you expect? You're done.
Yeah.
No more questions from you. Next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, Jay, I think the way you said it was perfect. Like, this is exactly where I want this team to be. I mean, I have always come from the belief that, you're paid to stop them, they're paid to score, right? That's the whole point of professional sports. If you don't want them to run the score up on you, stop them. And same thing. And like, I know baseball has all their unwritten rules, like don't steal bases when you're up by X amount of runs, or don't try and take the extra base or whatever. It's like, hey, stop them. That's just, you got to try and be consistent even when it hurts your team. Like, right. You can't be a person that, is all for it when you're winning and then be all sour grapes about it when your team's losing. So, So yeah, I'd have no problem with it. Honestly, I'm kind of glad they did then, because although I'm glad, I'd have no problem with it happening. I definitely would love to see Ben Johnson use this as like a rallying point, right? Like put a picture of that play up on like in the fucking film room or whatever, and just like have it be like, hey, the guys, remember they disrespected you guys and went for it on fourth down. They didn't have to, and I'm all for that kind of like motivation. So, if you're gonna do it, yeah, go for it. But I also think that there, stuff like that can come back and hurt you later. So hopefully the Bears, although they didn't show a lot of pride actually defending that play, hopefully that pride shows up at some point, because it is a pride thing. So, okay, all right. So Drew, you got me sidetracked there, but I really want to point some fingers. That's all I want to do is point fingers.
Let's do it.
Everybody. I mean, I wish I had 70 fingers to point at people, because there's plenty to go around.
It's Charlie Day in Always Sunny with the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Like, where can we go?
Here.
Here's the board. Yeah. Everyone can be to blame on this one.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of go. I'm gonna say a name. I'm gonna kick it to you guys, and I want you guys to just kind of briefly tell me how much of the blame this person gets. And don't worry, I'm going to save the best one for last. So don't need to worry. I'm not going to skip over anything, I promise. So right off the bat, let's go with Caleb. How much of the blame, and I don't need like a percentage or anything, but just like tell me your thoughts on them. Like, Jay, what do you think? Do you think Caleb deserves any blame for this?
A tiny bit. Yeah. I mean, a tiny bit. Drew, when you were over earlier, when Nick, you dropped off the soda pops, Drew said it perfectly. It's like, okay, where's Caleb? Where's the meat from the sandwich? We got two beautiful pieces of focaccia bread. Okay, in the ending of halves and the ending of games or the beginning of the game, but those 5 or 6 drives in between, it's like he has no idea what the fuck's going on. To a certain degree, it kind of seems, and so a little bit of the blame in this one.
Yeah, Jay or Drew, Caleb.
I'm definitely in Jay's boat. I'm starting to get to more with every game that passes by this season. I know we're only 2 weeks in. He even said it in an interview today. 2 weeks in, teams have made runs, teams have fixed things. It happens. So I actually liked that from him today. Sounded like an actual adult, but it's still getting me just the way that he presents himself on the field. Very weird. It's not like even Jay Cutler-esque of like Jay Cool. Like it rubs me the wrong way. It's like he thinks maybe it's his short-term memory is just very good. He likes to get rid of things very quickly, but it just seems like he doesn't care when he's in the game. So, but I do have to give him a little bit of the blame just because we have that higher expectation of a first round pick to just have some immediate value.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, we're going to probably give everybody here some blame for this, I'd imagine. But I think, Caleb, the one thing I'm going to fight you on a little bit, Drew, and this, I guess it's not really fight you. This isn't like a statistical thing. It's just I feel differently, I guess, than you do about this, is that I like that Caleb has that mentality, right, where he'll make a bad play, and then it seems like he doesn't let that like linger in any way. It seems like he is like truly from like play to play. See him get fired up after a good play, which is good. And he's obviously gets mad after bad plays, but then he's pretty collected after that. And I think that's a very important thing for a quarterback to play. You don't want a quarterback like playing angry at any point, right? Or trying to make fix a mistake after it happened already, right? Like you can't do that in football. So I think I like that about him. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but that interception he threw in the second half was awful. Like that easily could have been a throwaway. I was listening to Pardon My Take, and they were talking. Big Cat was talking about how he wanted Caleb to throw more interceptions last week, but he was talking about taking more chances, not like trying to throw the ball away and missing the sideline by like 5 yards. So that's a play. Register that in the back of your mind. Next time, just throw it straight out. Go throw it into the stands. Like do whatever you gotta do, get it out of bounds, because nothing good is going to come with you throwing the ball when you're horizontal to the ground and have no idea where it's going. So just throw it as far away from anybody else as possible.
I got one last thing on Caleb, and I want you guys to track it throughout the season. All right. Just because I'm going to have more and more blame if I see this. Maybe it's not the emotional, but maybe it's a concerted effort by media or whatever to cut to quarterbacks when they make mistakes and they're researching what they did wrong or maybe even what they did right. But I have never seen a cut to Caleb Williams on the sideline and he's on an iPad or on looking at something of what he just did. It's a lot of just him sitting on the bench or looking around or anything like that, not doing like some immediate research. So track that going forward.
For sure. I mean, when you think back to when you think back to some of the best, you think back to Tom Brady, you think back to Peyton Manning, who are kind of the standard for our generation, right? You think back to them and the cuts. I mean, I can vividly picture Peyton Manning with the physical printouts and stuff like that. I know that there's a video Tom Brady in his Buccaneer days even was there's that video of him throwing the tablet on the ground,
smashing the tablet,
smashing it. So yeah, no, for sure. That's the thing. If you're an ultra competitive quarterback who is gonna, wants to be an ultra winner, you need to take advantage of everything you got. So I agree with you there. I think that's fair.
The lack of performance does creep in all of the other, the body language, the mentality kind of question marks. Yeah. Those are a lot of the question marks that people had from him coming out of the draft. And until you can put it together, those things are going to linger, unfortunately. They just are.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. So next, Ben Johnson. Drew, how much of this does Ben Johnson get blamed for?
It's got to be some. There's not. I'm inclined to give him less than any of the other big organizational heads, but more than any of the other coaches, because when he took this job, he should have understood what he was getting himself into. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, even or some sends in text message conversations of he didn't understand how deep this rabbit hole actually was. Now, I could see that maybe on day one when you sign a contract and you're here and you're oh yeah, we're gonna take back things and we're gonna actually be a winning product. But I'm just giving him some because Ben Johnson didn't make any actual promises to us as Bears fans. He didn't say hey, we're going to win. He's made some answers of I would see successful as an 8-9 season. Are we still tracking for that? Sure. Yeah, we can get there. But where I'm blaming Ben Johnson is you got to have, if you think you have this great of an offense, you have to have a little bit more consistent success in it than just a first drive or, the end of a half or the end of a game sort of thing. So you got to have the entire machine kind of working a little bit quicker. And I know he's not a defensive guy, so I can't really blame him that much for that. So I blame him for some of the offense's struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Jay, Ben Johnson.
So I'm in for this game specifically. I'm in the a lot category. You get beat 52-21. You're head coach of the football team. You're at fault. You just are. You have an ungodly amount of penalties. That's on the head coach. That's your job, is to make sure that your team executes as efficiently as possible. That was not an efficiently executed game. So I love Ben Johnson. I think the future is bright for Ben Johnson. I truly still remain optimistic in his ability to get the ship turned around to the best of ability with the personnel on the team. But for this specific game, he wears a lot of that blame when you're losing by 30 plus points. It's just, in my opinion, inevitable if you're the head coach.
Yeah, no, for sure. With the head coach, the buck stops here, right? That's how it's got to be, and that's just the way it is. We're going to touch on Dennis Allen in a second, but Ben Johnson, one, hired Dennis Allen, and two, has to sign off on all game plans and matchups and all the things that happen during the week. So to sit here and say that Ben Johnson shoulders none of the blame, I think would be wrong, because he's the head coach and you lost by 31 points to a division rival. So your former team, who you'd think would be some sort of an advantage, but I guess at the end of the day, like we talked about earlier, they were, emotionally speaking, I don't know if anybody was going to beat the Lions were just on another level. I think they just really wanted to beat Ben Johnson. But either way, head coach, you got to take some of the blame there.
Yeah.
So I just teased it, but I'm going to go with Dennis Allen now. Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, gave up 52 points. And if you track it back to the fourth quarter of the Vikings game, we're talking about 76, 70, they scored 24, 21, 76 points in 5 quarters, something like that.
I forget exactly, but yeah, it's in the damn 70s in 5 quarters.
70 some points in 5 quarters. Your last 5 quarters, and over 700 yards of offense, something like that in 5 quarters, I believe is the number. So Jay, let's start with you. Dennis Allen.
You got to be crazy if you're not saying a ton of blame, right? I don't know how you could put that one together. I do think that Dennis Allen, probably after week 2, maybe even after week 1, a glass of red wine with his wife is probably these guys are really bad. I'm not as bad as this. I can't be as bad as this. These players must just really suck on, or so. You know what I mean? But I alluded to it briefly, but what was disheartening was seeing man coverage with a 4-man rush that couldn't get any. That's to me kind of. I'm no defensive guru, but you can also be hey, that's not how it's done. You can't sustain man coverage for 4+ seconds in the NFL. You just can't. So why are we trying that? So tons of blame.
Yeah, when you said that he's sitting at home talking to his wife about how much he didn't realize how bad the Bears were, I just got this image of Bob Barker and Happy Gilmore, and he's throws his clothes. This guy fucking sucks. That's how I'm thinking about it now. So Drew, Dennis Allen. A lot of
for
blame.
this a ton.
Yeah.
For not knowing what he was getting himself into a ton. I mean, I'm not trying to, find. We know who's to blame for a lot of the Bears' failures, but it just seems like taking this job might have not been Dennis Allen's. Might have been Dennis Allen's best decision he's ever made, and not understanding the personnel. Maybe he bought into the coaching around him, but I will say that there's got to be some way to draw getting pressure, blitz everybody. Take a page out of Brian Flores' book. Just blitz everybody. Make it happen. I don't care if I get gashed if I see 7 people rushing the quarterback and he's got to throw the ball up in the air and a wide receiver catches it. So yeah, there's you gotta figure out how to make that happen right away. You can't just rush 4 because we've seen these guys, they won't get pressure on a quarterback.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he deserves all the not all the blame, but he deserves a lot of the blame. Whether it's Jason talking about his coverage strategy, whether it's you look at the amount of miscommunications in the secondary. I don't know, you gotta want. I mean, I'm not an expert, so I don't know, but I mean, it almost seemed like they were trying to like communicate verbally to each other in a loud stadium. Which, if that's the case, you got to have hand signals or something like that to make sure that it's not, that there's communication between the two players. It just seemed like a lack of understanding of the defense at some points, lack of familiarity with the teammates out there. So, I mean, I shouldn't say like it's not 100% on him, but definitely, when you're the coach of the defense, whose job it is to specifically prepare the defense for a game, and they give up 52 points, you're going to shoulder a lot of the blame. All right. So, yeah, we all agree. But Dennis Allen deserves a lot of the blame. So, all right, I'm going to hope you guys are sharpening your pitchforks because we're ready to really dive in here, because how much of the blame do you give Velus Jones? No, I'm just kidding.
Velus Jones is what was it? His iguana, or not iguana?
Well, he had an animal
or a reptile,
something like that. Chameleon
snake?
or something.
He was a snake.
Maybe it was a snake.
No, of course we're talking about Chef Poles. Chef Poles did it again. Talking about Ryan Poles, the general manager of your Chicago Bears. All right. Before we really dive into this, and this might take a second, so I apologize. This pod might go a little long tonight. I'm just going to kind of run through his draft and just talk about who he's drafted and what they're up to now. We're going to start with the most recent. So Bears drafted Colson Loveland 10th overall. Hasn't really made an impact yet. I think he has 2 catches this season, maybe 1 catch this season. Don't know. None this week. I know that. Luther Burden was the second-round pick of the Bears this year. Wide receiver. Hasn't made an impact. I think he has 2 catches for like 1 yard, something like that. Ozzie Trapillo, offensive tackle, second-round pick. Healthy scratch this week. Shamar Turner, defensive tackle, second-round pick this year. Healthy scratch this week. Ruben Hippolyte is a backup linebacker, so nothing crazy. Not terrible there in the 4th round. Za Frazier, not with the team. Personal issue that happened before the draft that he probably should have known about. Will probably not play this season. In fact, I think he will not play this season. I don't think there's a probably about it. Luke Newman is an offensive lineman that actually is dressing for games. I have never heard his name said really other than the draft day, but he's a depth guy. I don't want to go through this whole list because it'll take for a long time, but just know that there are how many picks are there? He's picked 23 players total as the GM of the Chicago Bears. Of those 23 players, 4 are no longer with the team. This is 3 years ago. 1 has a personal issue that is not going to play this season. 2 from this year are healthy scratches and do not even don't even have any, they can't even play in the games that they wanted to. And then you got, you have 5 starters this season that Ryan Poles drafted. Five starters. 5 players on this team, offense and defense, are starters. So, Drew, $1 million question. How much of the blame do you give Ryan Poles? And I'm not. Let's expand a little, not just for this specific game, but just the situation we find ourselves in.
I'm gonna do this man an ultimate favor.
Okay.
It's not an ultimate favor. I'm talking about a man on our podcast right here. I'm gonna pass this. I'm gonna pass my turn over to the man on my left on my screen. But Jason, you take this one.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on Poles are well documented, I feel. And I just haven't been drinking the Kool-Aid as much. I think, listen, if we want to talk about the blame and percentages and everything, this this is the ace of spades in the old school U.S. government terrorist deck. You know, the Osama bin Laden ace of spades. That's Ryan Poles at this point. You know, we've been rebuilding for 3 years, 4 years. I mean, we've been rebuilding for as long as we can. But what was exciting and rejuvenating when Poles first came is he was, I think, the first GM I remember that said, listen, we need to just trade some talent away and accumulate draft picks. And that's how we'll turn over and become good. But he's just proven that he cannot evaluate talent well, nor can he prioritize the deficiencies in the team, in the draft or in trades. And I won't go way back. I won't bring up the Chase Claypool trade. I won't bring up, you know, passing on X, Y, or Z. But even if we just look at this draft, I mean, you draft Colston Loveland at 10 overall, and he's nowhere to be found. And you have so many gaps on the team. He's got 2 catches for like 10 yards, and he's coming in and he's blocking, and he's not even running routes. He's not even getting targets. And you have guys that you're drafting. I mean, when we were pissed off about the draft is we knew what we needed, and you had the draft capital. You had 4 second-round or higher picks, and you knew that you needed offensive lineman and defensive lineman. And you picked one. I mean, you picked Trapillo, great, and you picked Turner on the D line. But I mean, we're not a tight end. We don't need to detail the car. We need a fucking full blown deep clean of that motherfucker, right? And the kid puked in the back, so get the interior right. And we're detailing the mirrors and stuff with Loveland and Burden. And I love Loveland. I love Burden, but they're not being utilized. And like none of his draft picks are. So none of the players, none of the trades, nothing is just seeming to click. And I will give him credit where I don't even think I still thought when everyone was going nuts, like, oh, he traded the pick. It's like, that's what he should have done. That he should have traded the first overall pick that was the Bryce Young year and traded back and got that. Like, that is table stakes GM maneuver. If that's being offered, you accept it. And if you're not searching for that, then you're not doing your job right. So, like, good. I'm glad that he did his job to the level of a professional NFL GM. But when it comes to the talent evaluation, I don't know what the hell he's doing, because he's picking, not only is he picking the wrong positions, right? But Nick, like, you talk about this in fantasy drafts all the time, and a lot of good GMs talk about the same thing. It's, I'm going to take in the first 2 rounds, I don't give a shit what the position is. I'm taking the best player off the board. And Colston Loveland isn't even the best tight end off the board. You look at our boy in Indianapolis. Remind me his name, Drew or Nick. Tyler Warren. That guy looks like a damn stud. And so I know it's easy to get frustrated, and I am frustrated. I'm easily frustrated with Ryan Poles, but I mean, we got to see something, and we haven't seen anything. And the last thing I'll put on that too, and I texted you guys this earlier, was in the NFL, this is a league where if you're rebuilding for like 1 or 2 years. It does not take that much, unless you're the Browns, the Jets, or the Bears. You can turn around a team in like 1 or 2 years, right? From worst to contender. We've never even been at like the, hey, maybe we'll be at 500 level. We've just been shit. And it's been 3-4 years of this. And I'm really disappointed with it. You'll love this too, because it even emphasizes more of the fact, like, what were we doing drafting a punter in the 4th round? What were we doing drafting Kieran Amagaji, a project tackle, in the 3rd round? We don't have the luxury to miss.
Right.
And he's missing all over the board. So, yeah. I mean, Tooney, awesome signing. I will give him credit for that. I still think, regardless of what happens, Tooney looks great.
Yeah, he does.
But, like, you know, Darnell Wright is like what is he in a right tackle? Like, would you consider him average? Would you consider him top 15 at right tackle? Maybe. Yeah, he's good. He's fine. Not great. Yeah, he's never going to see a Pro Bowl. I'll guarantee you that. Like, he does not have that in his resume. 10th overall pick. Hit something. We're at the point where we are absolutely warranted of being pissed off and having pitchforks out for Poles, because the results have been shit, and someone is to blame. Yeah. I mean, it's not me. It's not us. You know. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, all of that is well said. I love that the fire that you say that with.
Jay's got all the details. I'm just gonna go general overview. Taking the rock back from him.
Yeah.
15-38 is a mathematical 39% winning percentage. That is the lowest percentage of any GM that has taken up the position as a Chicago Bears GM.
That's hard to do too. That's impressive.
It's not an impressive list.
We got it. Well, I'm sorry. Mark Hatley. I've never heard of him. 97 to 2000.
Who can forget Mark Hatley?
Yeah. But you go back to Jerry Angelo to be the winningest GM at 54%. But here's the biggest thing is, I know GM's got to have some personality, and he said he was going to take back the North in his press conference, 3-17 against the North. He seems like, I think I might have put this in the rundown, but this dude seems like in the realm of the NFL, he's a used car salesman. He knows how to jazz it up. He knows how to talk to people. He knows how to sell something completely fake. And maybe that's what he did to Ben Johnson, to get him in here, because we think Ben Johnson's right. And I hope he's not, the wrong play setting for head coach. But this dude might just have the shiniest bag and have nothing in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there's some validity to that. I mean, he just got an extension this offseason.
Yeah.
For what? I feel like on this, of the three of us, I've probably been the closest thing to a polls apologist. I've been probably the closest to I think the man is doing an okay job. Let's see what happens. But you look at your game this week. You lose by 32 points or 31 points, whatever the score was, 31 points. Sorry, you lose by 31 points to a division team. Game you were only 6.5 point dogs, which 6.5 points is a lot for the NFL. But then throw 3.5 more touchdowns on there. So you look at this okay, clearly this roster needs work. And then you look at the Bears had 4 picks in the top 62 this year, 4 of the top 62. And they drafted a guy, like we said, has 2 catches for under 10 yards, 2 catches for almost negative yards, 2 healthy scratches. When you're taking top 60 picks in the NFL draft, first 2 rounds, if you got 4 of them, I think you should have at least 3 on those 3 of those 4 should be making somewhat contributions to your team year one.
Immediate impact.
Yes.
Immediate impact.
Maybe not necessarily all pro or anything like that, but starting players that are rotational players that their impact is felt on Sundays. When you have 2 healthy scratches and 2 pass catchers who are not getting the ball thrown to them, what? Okay, so we took a team last season that needed so much work that we fired everybody in the coaching staff, and I guess we added the free agents, which was good. But besides the 3 offensive linemen and the defensive tackle Grady Jarrett that they signed, that's not enough. You need to I just don't know. I know that they're not going into these drafts saying let's make our team shittier, but something about their talent evaluation needs to be improved because it's not there. They don't have it today.
Yeah, and I suppose with the perspective of what you guys have said too, it's I think I came in with the scalpel of I have been tracking polls and all of his transactions, and there's many that I don't like. But even as a casual fan, all you need to do, take that big picture like Drew did. It's wins and losses. Yeah, that's how you're graded. And his wins and losses, his record as GM is atrocious. And sometimes it's as simple as that. That's the mark. Are you winning? No, you're bad. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It can be as simple as that. And that's the NFL. That is as simple as that.
Yeah. I will say, to his a little bit of credit, right? Again, I still think he's doing a very poor job with the draft and everything like that. When you talk about his record, I do think it's important to remember how the Nagy Pace era ended,
True,
how bad the team was, and how bad the cap situation was. So to give Ryan Pace a little Ryan Poles, God, I've been doing that all fucking day. I've been like comparing the two, and I keep calling it Ryan Pace. When you talk about Ryan Poles, the current Bears GM, all of the negatives about the Chase Claypool trade and his misses in the draft, all of these things are valid, right? And I also think I'm coming around to the fact that the Panthers trade for the number 1 pick, I used to kind of cancel out the Chase Claypool trade with that. I'm like, well, that was bad, that was good, cancel them out. But yeah, like if you're the GM and a trade falls into your lap, you're not a good GM for saying yes to an obviously good trade. That's not how that works. But the Bears were in cap hell. They owed a bunch of aging players a lot of money, and they were not a good team. And they're still not a good team, but he inherited a bad team. But he did get the Bears out of cap hell. Like the cap situation is under control now. So if nothing else, at least he did that positively. But that's all the positive I'm going to say about Ryan Poles, because I do think his talent evaluation is suspect at best.
Yeah, Waddle I was listening to Waddle and Sylvie today, and Sylvie made a good call out, and he said, because they were kind of going through the Poles thing as well. Everyone has been.
Yeah, right.
It's inevitable.
Yep.
But he did make a good point, and you make a good point too, Nick. And to that, I would say I can give Poles 2 years, but in year 3 and 4,
no, for sure,
that you got to have a turnaround. That you can't be in hell for inheriting the bad team for more than 2 years, in my opinion.
No, for sure. We're past that expiration date is passed.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm saying that is because we're talking about like win-loss record.
Mm-hmm.
You got to.
True.
But at the end of the day, that like 2 years, you get 2 years, right? That's probably even being really generous. 2 years, right? Let's be honest. Probably get 1 year, but we'll give him 2 years. So we really need to see things turn around soon. And I will end this on kind of a positive note, because when the Broncos signed Russell Wilson and all that stuff, they were going through much worse hell than the Bears were at the end of the Nagy era, in my opinion. I think that's pretty irrefutable. They hire Sean Payton, right, who kind of a dickhead, but also a very good football coach. And his first year, they go to Miami and get 70 points hung on them by the Miami Dolphins. So I'm not saying that this is exactly the same situation. I don't know the Broncos GM situation. I don't know what, they had. I don't know, all that stuff. I'm just saying from a very high level, this is similar, right? This is like, okay, new coach, going to change everything, gets the shit kicked out of him early in his first season. So I do think there is, it's easy to be doom and gloom right now. Future is bad. We're never going to be good, blah, blah, blah. But I do think that I honestly, truly believe that Ben Johnson's the guy. And I'm willing to die. I'm willing to die on that hill. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Ryan Poles, I'm okay with, like, I like, he's fine, whatever, for a while. I don't like him now, but I was never willing to, like, plant my flag and die on that hill. Ben Johnson, I'm willing to do that on. I think he's the guy. So you give him, I think, you look at the Broncos and what they were able to turn around in a couple of years, in like a year. And then you look to the Bears and you think, like, all right, similar situation. You got a young quarterback with a lot of talent, offensive guy, has the head coach who's really heralded as like a really, he's really, a lot of teams wanted to hire him. So I don't know. It's not exactly the same, but I'm looking at the Broncos situation as like a positive. It's like, okay, there is like a possibility that this could end up in not disaster. So that's kind of my positive spin on everything.
I dig it. We need some positivity, so I'll lean into that as well.
All right.
I think the biggest thing I'm going to say is I know we're going to kind of transition out of polls a little bit, but where I'm thinking that there might be a cloud of maybe not understanding or not eyes on him directly is because the organization is so focused on this new stadium and where all of that is going to happen. And that's a huge undertaking. So I'm giving some blame to Kevin Warren and the McCaskies for looking at that a ton and not looking at your GM to fire his ass immediately. So you have to give them some of the blame, but I didn't want to go off on a tangent there.
No, I'm glad you brought them up because I mean, my stance on the McCaskies is very well documented. I think the McCaskies are the worst owners in, well, I don't want to say the worst owners in sports, not the worst owners in the city. Yes, correct. Yes, they're not the worst owners in the city, but they're some of the worst owners in the NFL. And I mean, they hired. It's hard because they hired Kevin Warren for one thing and one thing only, and it's to get the stadium done. That's the only reason Kevin Warren is in Chicago. He's here to get the stadium done, and if he does a good job, he'll have a job for life because that's how the McCaskies kind of are. Which, by the way, we're not any. I mean, I don't know if we're even. Apparently, Pritzker says they got to pay like their loan back before they can move or some shit. Whatever. I don't want to get into that, but stadium's not going as great as we thought. But regardless, I've always said the Bears are never going to be good until either the McCaskies luck their way into hiring the right GM or die or quit or sell the team or whatever. I don't think that Ryan Poles is the guy, but I do think they lucked their way into a good head coach. So I do think that gives you a fighting chance.
Well, last year with Kevin Warren, like you saw with the problem with Milquetoast, like Kevin Warren had to step in there and he made the decision to fire him, like in saying like, that's the problem. So like, I'm wondering if somebody's going to say to Kevin Warren, like, hey, listen, take your hard hat off, stop picking condiments for the 11th, floor. But like, you gotta fire this dude. I'm hoping, but like, you can't just turn a blind eye to football operations too.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, I know you were referencing this exact moment, but just the Hard Knocks moment that was like 14 months ago where Kevin Warren's picking out chairs for the new stadium that hasn't even broken ground yet is an all-time hilarious. Like, yeah, dude, the chair selection for the stadium at this moment today is still like 3 years out. You don't need to do that today. Like, you didn't need it at 14 months ago, but all right. Yeah, Kevin Warren. The more I see that guy, he's like a weird guy. He's a fucking weird guy.
But on the bright side, Ryan Poles contract extension through 2029. So God save the Queen. We're all dead.
God save the Queen, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a shitty situation because we're basically like, they're not going to fire him unless things tank bad, which kind of trending in that direction right now. But we also have like a guy who I believe Ben coach, like I just said, is a good coach. And also, like, at the end of the day, I do believe Caleb Williams is talented enough to be like a top 15, top 12 NFL quarterback. So I don't want to tank those two careers just for the sake of Ryan Poles being gone. But It's like, I hate that everything is. It's like the Bears finally got everyone connected at the moment. I just like wish they could fire the GM and move forward with Caleb and Ben Johnson. It's like everybody has been on like alternating contracts for the last like 10 years, and now they're finally all aligned. It's like, God damn it, why not?
I know,
but we'll see. Anyway, all right. I don't know. I think that's all that we have for. Oh boy, how long? An hour and 15 minutes on negatives. That makes sense. Jay, I know that we touched on the McCaskies and Kevin Warren. Is there anybody else? Whether it's those two or anybody else you want to point a finger at?
I mean, Montez Sweat. He's still going to be under the microscope until he shows up on the stat sheet. Like it's just an inevitability. He's draining so much cap space to just be there.
Yeah. The last year I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because I think he had some nagging injuries. Haven't seen him on an injury report this year. Haven't heard anything that he's got any nagging stuff. So going to need to see some production from a guy who's paid, I believe, he's like one of the top 15 paid defensive players in the NFL or something like that. So we're gonna need some production. We can't just
another snake oil salesman. Yeah, in his own right.
The Tony Snell score sheets are not gonna.
Yes, that's a great comp.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, that'll do it for Bears stuff. I mean, do we want to grade? I mean, I think that's pretty unanimous. We're gonna give the Bears just. Offense looked a little bit better, but just Fs across the board. It was bad. It was one of the worst efforts I've ever seen. And that's truly saying something because we lived through a lot of the bad Bears teams. So, I mean, unless you guys want to change your grade, I'm going to give everyone an F across the board.
Across the
straight up Fs.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So Bears, Fs, slight hope for future with Ben Johnson, but dwindling by the day. And yeah, let's move around the league. Let's talk about some fun stuff that actually happened in the league because it was kind of a fun Sunday. Got a lot of injuries, but fun besides that.
Yeah. Just hit the quick highlights, go through it, kind of your fastest 2 minutes of some things that are going on, and let you guys touch on them in more detail after we go through them. But first and foremost, injuries are a top. We're week 2, so injuries are going to be a top storyline throughout the rest of the NFL. So first off, Joe Burrow injuring his toe. We just heard the announcement, 3 months for the guy, might be done for season. That's tough. Bengals are 2-0, however, so we could come back into the playoffs, but by all waypoints, this is now Jake Browning's offense going into that. The trend of least exciting games on paper or least expected exciting games has continued this last week. The Cowboys and Giants 40-37 OT game was awesome to watch, and to watch the playback of that this week or today, this morning, was amazing, with Brendan Aubrey kicking, Malik Neighbors catching. Russell actually can throw a ball pretty well. He can throw a nice deep ball. He really can.
He always could, yeah.
Always could. And now the Cowboys have signed Jadeveon Clowney, so a thing we need to watch out for in the coming weeks or next week. Indy's 2-0. Could be them. We don't know.
MVP.
Tua finally lost to New England. Drake May might be back, but Tua might also be done. Jay, brilliant send. Gotta say, brilliant send on that, because I actually had the sound clip queued up for Mike McDaniel of him just saying, Nick, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but Mike McDaniel had one of the all-time quotes I've ever heard. He said, well, in order to win the game, you have to win the game.
Yeah.
Not lose it.
Not lose it.
So
is that Confucius? Is that who said that originally?
Yeah.
So that's a tough one. Josh Allen broke his nose, reset it, still won a football game. Justin Fields fell back to earth literally because he got a concussion this week. Philly won the Super Bowl rematch with KC. And a lot of other injuries. JJ McCarthy out. Jaden Daniels might be out. Boys, after week 2, what are we looking at around the league? I'm going to kick it to Nick first. What are we looking at around the league? Any game you want to touch on extensively to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, so it's a big week in the NFL. I think the one thing I really want to talk about is actually the thing you led off with is Joe Burrow and the Joe the Toe.
Joe the Toe.
Toe Burrow. That sucks. Joe Burrow. It's okay. One thing, and again, they talked about this on PMT today, but I've always said this too. Like, they need to change the injury of turf toe to like whatever ligament or muscle is actually torn, because it's just, you hear someone's going to miss the season with turf toe, you're like, what a fucking pussy. Like,
you're right.
Talking about
Yes,
a turf toe. Come on, man. But no, it's a legit thing. He can barely walk. Grade 3 tear, which I don't know. I'm not a doctor. That sounds bad. 3 months out of the season. I mean, look, the Bengals have probably one of the best receiving corps in the NFL, but without a quarterback to throw them the ball. I mean, Jake Browning, you saw he came in. They let him on a nice drive to win the game, but he also threw 3 interceptions. So, I mean, if you're a Bengals fan, you're not in a good spot right now. And it sucks because I think the Bengals, especially with this 2-0 start that they got off to, the biggest knock on the Bengals is always that they get off to these slow starts and then they find their rhythm in the middle of the season. You finally like win these shitty, ugly games at the beginning of a season that you typically lose. And you're like thinking, people probably thinking like possible 1 seed, possible like division champions, whatever. And now to lose your MVP candidate quarterback for the better part of the season. I mean, 3 months puts you in like mid-December, which is like weeks 16, 17, something like that.
Yep.
It's brutal, and you feel for him because I personally like Joe Burrow is one of my favorite non-Bears players in the NFL. I love Joe Burrow. Going back to his days in LSU, I thought he was just like awesome and very cool doing it. So like I love Joe Burrow. I have him in a couple fantasy leagues, so that sucks for me. But no, the Bengals are with Joe Burrow. The Bengals are one of the top 5 teams in the AFC easily. Like they're a playoff team with Joe Burrow, and not having him sucks. And I feel bad because this is like the second time in 3 or 4 years that Joe Burrow's missed a big chunk of the season with injury.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're unrelated injuries. It's not like a nagging thing. Nothing you have to like worry about. Just freak stuff, and it sucks. And I feel bad for Cincinnati fans.
Yeah, not fair. Although Jake Browning does show some prowess in throwing to Jamar Chase, which is great.
Yes, he does.
Number one fantasy players out there.
Yeah.
Jay, what was something you were catching on to trending NFL week 2?
The quarterback injuries, just to kind of pile on it, JJ McCarthy will be out. Jaden Daniels probably out. Justin Fields. When you kind of layer that into a fantasy realm too, especially in a super flex league, that waiver wire is going to be active. It's not in a super flex, right? You better have some depth there. And I think that's going to be why. Listen, I do feel bad for the Bengals. That's going to suck, but they're 2-0. Who knows? Hopefully they can stick around, but that's going to be an uphill battle. I think we can put a fork in the Dolphins. I think Mike, what's his name? Mike McDaniel. The dude's had a lobotomy or something. Like he's completely like on there.
He's Matt Nagy post double doink.
Yeah. Yes. No, he is. That's perfect.
The lobotomy. Yeah.
That's perfect. I think the big thing I wanted to call out though was who had the Chiefs going 0-2 to start the year. I think that's a wild one, and they don't look great. I know you're kind of seeing that the offensive line is a little bit scattered. The defense isn't what it used to be, although the defense has been okay. That Phillies
defense is fine.
Defense has been fine, but Mahomes is looking like he doesn't have any help for the first time, and he's never had a whole bunch around him, but he's got nothing around him, and I'm interested to see how the Chiefs' rest of the season looks. Like they might be at risk of not even making the playoffs in that AFC, which is a crazy thing. And I don't even mean that to be like overreactive.
No,
but,
it's not. Yeah.
They are not looking great. And I think that was the biggest takeaway is I expected that to be a competitive game. I did take the Chiefs plus 1.5 at home, which it didn't hit fine, but I'm just surprised that they're 0-2 because that's like the staple of the NFL is the Chiefs are always going to find a way to do it. And this is an alarming start over there.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And especially in that division, like you see a matchup going on right now in that division. It's going to be hard fought. Chargers look real great and they might just do some things. Broncos are still the Broncos, even though they lost to Indy in that division. I'm going to point out a division which I'm really surprised about. If you guys haven't seen it yet, the NFC West is currently 7-1.
Yeah. Wow.
We have the Niners at 2-0, Cardinals at 2-0, Rams at 2-0, and the Seahawks at 1-1.
I mean, Saints play the Cardinals played the Saints and the Panthers.
Correct.
Yeah. Cardinals.
The matchups are the matchups.
For sure. You beat the teams ahead of you for sure.
Yeah. But San Francisco 49ers team who lost a quarterback for at least multiple weeks, another quarterback injury.
Right.
You march out Mac Jones, and Mac Jones, he's back. No.
he's back, baby.
But still, I mean, it looks like there might be some more parity in the NFL than what we expected. But you still have the AFC and NFC South to kind of track that down for you with a lot of 0-2, 1-1 teams there. So
although AFC South, really quick, Drew, just to kind of like talk really just.
Yeah.
I think everybody was like, okay, AFC South, whoever's better between the Jags and the Texans, right? That's
Texans.
probably who you're going to be.
Mhm.
Texans are 0-2. They just lost earlier tonight.
Yeah.
And the Indianapolis Colts off to the best start in like 20 years in Indianapolis or something like that. Or maybe more, right? It's 2009, I think, was the last time they went 2-0 with Peyton Manning at the helm. So, look, Daniel Jones didn't play as good in this game as he did in week 1, but he still played a pretty good game. And that Broncos defense is not a joke. Like, that Broncos defense is pretty legit defense.
Yeah.
Technically, they probably shouldn't have won that game because I don't know if you saw the end of that
game.
But
sure did.
Do you have money? Do you have the
Sure
Broncos?
Did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like, it was weird to see that game happen where the Broncos literally won the game and then the call happened and then they re-kicked the field goal 15 yards closer. And then literally later that day, we saw the Panthers and the Cardinals in overtime, or not overtime. It was down the stretch. And I don't know if you guys caught that game at all in Red Zone, but there were the Cardinals won that game like 6 times. And then they kept getting penalties or weird rules. And I'm like, the Cardinals or the Panthers will win this game. And it was just weird to see, weird to see the Cardinals blow or the Broncos win a game, penalty, lose a game, and then see the Cardinals almost do the exact same thing. It was crazy.
Yeah. I had both the Cardinals and the Broncos money line, and I was like, this is it. This is the universe has decided to get on the train.
By the way, I picked Panthers in our my dogs are hungry, right? I picked the Panthers plus 6.5. Just an absolute miracle cover. They had no business covering that spread. They were down by 15, and the Cardinals had the ball with 5 minutes left in that game. They had no business covering that. But
that's okay. I sunk you with the Saints, so there you go.
Can't win them all.
Yeah, I sunk our over with Caleb. Just one more series. Just come on.
That was a travesty of the weekend for sure. That should have hit. What were we 9 yards away, something like that?
Yeah.
Stuff.
Anything else around the league, guys, of what we saw this week other than injuries or teams? I know it's going to start to take its picture and we're going to start to see more things develop as we go on, but I think that's safe enough other than the fact that Green Bay still looks fucking amazing.
Yeah,
even though we said it last Thursday.
We touched on this when we were talking about the Bears, but the Vikings might be ass. They might be really bad.
Yeah. I just wanted to, do you guys think that the Colts are for real, or is this a flash in the pan fluke? They're going to come back down to earth quickly, or is this Sam Darnold and the Vikings last year? Are we just going to recycle through old, bad, used quarterbacks and then poof, someone just becomes very good in the system that they're in, or is this just smoke and mirrors?
That's a great question,
man. I just pulled up their schedule just a little bit ago.
It's easy,
not hard.
It's easy,
not amazingly hard. So
I
could see that being
so.
And it's the NFC South, like Nick was just saying.
I'm
sorry, the AFC South.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man, because it would be one thing if they beat the Browns this weekend, right? That'd be one thing. If it's we're talking about a win over who'd they beat in week? Oh, the Dolphins, really bad Dolphins, and the Browns or the Titans or the Saints or something like that. A lot of people are picking the Broncos to be a Super Bowl team this year, or at least a deep run in the playoffs. Everybody has the Broncos in their playoffs. I think all 3 of us had the Broncos in the playoffs or close to it. So the Broncos are no slouch, and the Colts went toe to toe with them. And it wasn't just they got bailed out by winning 10-9 or something like that. And that they put up 30 points again.
Right.
They're scoring, and I mean, you gotta. We kept saying this about. I'm glad you brought up Sam Darnold last year because that's such a perfect comp, right? Because last year we kept saying that he's going to regress to the mean at some point, and he just never really did until the last week of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Jones, we've seen way more of Daniel Jones than we saw of Sam Darnold prior to his last year. So I think we know who Daniel Jones is. It's just crazy because even the good year Daniel Jones had in New York, it was mainly with his legs. He wasn't really throwing very well. This year, he's kind of doing everything really well right now. So you got to think this is some kind of mirage, right? This isn't real. It's not going to stick around, but that schedule's easy. The division's easy. They already have a game lead on anybody else. I don't know, man.
You got to feel for Brian Dable too, because he's Do I suck? Am I the one who sucks? Am I the sucker, dude?
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't feel for him.
No,
we'll see. We'll see what comes of that for sure.
Anyway, thanks for humoring me there, because that's going to be an interesting one. Who are they playing next? The Titans.
Titans at the Titans. Yeah,
okay.
Could be a quick 3-0 start for them, and going to the Rams, Raiders, Cardinals, and that's not anything to say they can't beat them. So,
yep.
The
NFL.
NFL.
Be looking at 5-1 Colts. That's crazy.
Yeah, NFL. We'll see some parity. We'll see that league keep turning it on its head every week. But we're going to go into the last section for tonight, and that is going to be the ever favorable podium list. Jay, tell us who the podium list is brought to us by tonight.
With pleasure, Drew. So, hey, food lovers, are you looking for your next unforgettable dining experience? Well, then head on down to Cadence Kitchen in downtown Downers Grove and tell them that the BQ Boys sent you. With a menu that changes seasonally, Cadence Kitchen is serving up locally sourced fresh ingredients that'll have your taste buds dancing. And don't forget the incredible cocktail list that Cadence offers as well. Next time you're in Downers Grove or the surrounding area, do yourself a favor, check out Cadence Kitchen. You can make reservations online at cadencekitchen.co and follow them on Instagram at cadencekitchen.co.
Awesome. Always a fan of the Painted Black Espresso Martinis. Cadence Kitchen, just a good place. So
good.
Get into the podium list. We'll round this out. And I'm sorry, guys, it's a deflated podium list this week, kind of based on what the Bears are doing to us and wasting our time. I am throwing out the best ways to waste time this week on the podium list. We're going to, as always, if you're not familiar with the podium list, we're going to pick 3 top choices, go in sort of a snake random draft with a 1-2-3 order, 2-3-1 order, and 3-2-1 order in gold, silver, and bronze. Did the randomization earlier, and Jay, you got first pick. It'll go Jay, Drew, Nick in gold, and then I'll kick it off the rest of the way.
Awesome. I was going through my list that I wrote down for this, and I noticed basically just about all of them were some kind of app or something on my phone. So
not good.
Just I was like, oh shit, I'm really on my phone too. And then I started looking at like my screen time. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But I'm going to kick us off, and I'm not going to just like do blankets. I'm just going to make an app or specific thing on the phone, so we have other things that others can choose from too. But I'm going to go Instagram scrolling. You want to waste some time, go down a rabbit hole. I do this hours and hours a day, which is not a great habit. And now I feel like worse about myself, realizing how much I do it. But Instagram, for sure, for me is number one.
Yeah. I mean, how can we not in today's day and age of social media of just literally you could hit the search bar or you could just scroll for the end of time.
Doom scroll for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And they don't do a stopper like TikTok does. Like TikTok sometimes will occasionally throw that ad in there that's like, hey, you've been scrolling for quite a while.
Yeah.
You got to take a break, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Mine, and I'm sorry, Nick, that I might have taken this position in front of you, is specific. It's not going to be rewatching, but it's not going to be watching something new. It's going to be rewatching an old classic movie or something you've watched a million times before.
Yeah, I had that's literally exactly what I had. I was going to take that. That's just rewatching an old favorite. Yep.
Yes, just put it in. I mean, nowadays we don't have DVD players anymore, but throw it on the streaming service. If you've seen it 30 times before, 31 won't hurt. Let's watch it again. Let's watch The Matrix. Let's watch a Disney movie a million times. That's how I waste the most time on the couch with the dogs, whatever.
Yeah.
rewatching old movies.
Just like this past weekend, I rewatched the movie The Prestige. The Christopher Nolan.
Absolutely.
That's one of my all-time favorite movies. I think that's my favorite Nolan movie. If you look outside the Batman stuff, I love The Prestige. It's so fucking good. And you'd think, because that movie is kind of based on like twists and turns, that it's like a bad rewatch, because a lot of like twist and turn movies kind of are. I fucking love watching that movie. I'll watch that movie all the time. And Drew, I actually do have a DVD player still in my house. It's actually a Blu-ray player, and I like to pop the DVDs in. I don't know why. I just do, because I hate trying to Google what streaming service has certain movies. It's like, I have it right here. I'm just gonna pop it in. So yes, great pick. That was gonna be my pick if you didn't take it. So great pick.
Feel bad. I'm getting rid of, now that we're moving. I just got rid of an absolute Rolodex of movies, just DVDs, Blu-rays, all of them going.
Did you already get rid of it?
I mean, I have it in the garage. Do you want
You
them?
might want to keep that. You never know.
What do you think? The apocalypse is going to happen anytime soon?
I will say, the first week you live in a new place, you don't have your internet set up yet. You're going to want to do something.
True. It's nostalgic purposes. Collection.
You're buying a bigger place. You got more storage. Throw it in the basement.
You got to keep those. Yeah. You got to keep them.
All right. Nick finishes off in gold.
All right. I'm going to take the only real, I had 3 listed as like my top 3, and this is the next one. So shout out to Jamie Ensley, because he's the original of this, I believe. Just the old YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I lived with Jamie sophomore year of college, and that dude would just watch YouTube. He would just sit at his computer and watch YouTube. And he was like, this is like pre like YouTube, like the way it is now, right? So you just like had to like search through videos and stuff. But yeah, like nothing like going down like a 2016 Cubs YouTube rabbit hole, or like Devin Hester highlights rabbit hole, or pick your poison, whatever it is. Like I love going down like a YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah. In sports. Oh my god.
Oh, I've been big on and this is more of an Instagram thing probably than a YouTube thing, but like watching watching clips of like fans catching home runs and foul balls and giving them to little kids. I don't know why I love those videos. It's been that's all I've been watching lately.
Well, it's probably from the Philadelphia Karen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like need to show me to see what it really should be like.
Yep. That's an all-time move too. You give a kid a foul ball. I mean, that's a lot like the general manager thing that we were talking about earlier. That's like the table stakes. If you're a grown man catching a foul ball, you just got to give that thing to a kid. It's going to make their entire year.
Yeah. If you're every time I go to a game, and now it's easy because I have my kids with me, but before that, if I'm in a game over the age of like 15, first thing I'm doing is I'm like, all right, where is there a kid in my section? If I happen to catch a foul ball, who's getting this ball?
Game plan that out.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Just like
Drew, I was with you at a Cubs game one time. We got a foul, not a foul ball, but like a player threw a ball, grabbed it. We were with your parents, and I gave it to a kid, and the kid's parents bought us beers. Do you remember that?
That rocks. Good for them.
It's great. But that's it.
That's how it should be at a ballpark. It's you're a community at a ballpark.
Satisfaction. We're all in this together. Yes.
Hondo.
I will say, Nick, so my wife does not allow TVs. Yeah, I feel like I'm in jail. She does not allow TVs in the bedroom. So I constantly just bring my iPad in at night whenever I'm going to bed, and I will watch 15 YouTube videos just to go to sleep.
That's how. That's all that's for.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else.
Speaking of time wasters, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, Drew, I believe you're leading us off in silver.
Yeah. Silver go Drew, Nick, Jay. My silver is we're a sports podcast, so my second pick is going to be stat scrolling.
Damn it!
Chasing stat rabbit holes, dude. Like, I'm not tying this into trivia, but just like going down the rabbit hole of starting at your favorite team and then seeing the way that it has played out, or it has crossed a different sport into it's amazing. I love doing that and seeing where I end. I also love how it is like, it can be like a game. Like you could say like, hey, connect this guy to this certain thing. And you just go through it and you're like, oh my gosh, how many clicks did I get there? Yeah. We do that a ton here.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I actually didn't have one written down, but that kind of triggered something in me that I do all the time. So I'm actually going to take it right here. And that's just, it's a newer thing, but I play a lot of Immaculate Grids.
Damn.
I don't know if you guys do the Immaculate Grid.
You guys are just dominating these, you bastards.
I'll go. Baseball is my favorite. I feel like some about baseball is just cleaner for me. It's just like I have like a cleaner memory for baseball, but I'll do football. Football's harder because if it's not like a quarterback or a receiver, like I don't know the career movements of like offensive linemen, right? I don't even know most offensive linemen's names if they're not for the Bears. But like I like basketball, I like baseball. Those are like the two that I really focus on when I do an Immaculate Grid. But I love those things. It just when I get a 9 out of a 9, I just fucking like feel like, you know, just it's a good way to start the day. You know what I mean? It's like, all right,
absolutely
invincible.
Yeah,
exactly. Do you guys remember? Do you guys ever do Sporkle back in the day?
Oh, big time.
Yeah, that was
Sporkle.
all that stuff. But like the stats and the trivia tied to the stats, those are all timers.
Yeah,
and Immaculate Grid's phenomenal.
It's so good. I love it. I don't know how they still come up with that stuff every day. It's crazy.
Have you ever heard of Chuckle? Is it Chuckle? Let me go to the old phone. I have it favorited because I do it. I literally do it every day. Bear with me here. Yeah, Chuckle. Check that out. That's it. It gives you like a name the team, name the person, you get 6 clues and you try to get the least amount of clues. Phenomenal. I do that in Immaculate.
Like the actual word Chuckle.
Yeah.
Like see.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Would highly recommend it because those two are on my daily do list. Great wasting time situation.
I used to do well, I don't want to give away picks, but I used to do Nerdle. You ever heard of Nerdle?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like Wordle but for math. Essentially what it is.
Yep.
Used to do that all the time.
Nick, movies, scenery is a good one.
Okay.
I'm not giving away things, but I think there's a broader category to that. But like, that's guess a movie or a TV show in like
based
the least
like
amount of scenes,
based on like the frame or something like that.
Yeah,
nice.
frames, those sorts of things. Yeah.
Okay.
So good.
All right.
Yeah, those are good.
All right, Jay, you're running us off.
Oh, you bastard! Literally, those are my next two: stat scrolling and Immaculate Grid. So I'll default to this. I do this way too often, but I'll just go on a Zillow tear on my phone.
Oh yeah.
Not looking at specific, just like I'll be, well, I should move my family to nowhere, Nebraska, because he's probably like just somehow
what's my comment?
What am I doing?
Nowhere, Montana.
Yeah, nowhere, Montana. Looking at like lake houses that I can't afford, and I'm on it all the time. So
like you're on like a family like road trip somewhere. Like I wonder what a house in Lake Geneva goes for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally. That's a great pick.
Yeah. And not as good as stat scrolling in Immaculate Grid, I'll say.
It's definitely applicable to me because I'm still even though we just bought a house, I'm still looking.
Oh, sure.
Still looking and having the instant buyer's remorse of like, oh shit, this is up. Shit, we could have done this. That's great. All right, going into bronze, 3-2-1, going or 3-1-2, going Nick, Jay, Drew. So Nick, what do you got in bronze?
All right. I am just going to take, I've been doing this more lately since I've kind of built out my basement into like more of a space. Actually, there's a TV with a couch and stuff down here now. So I've been playing a lot of video games down in my basement. So video games is just an easy way for me to kill some time. If I'm, whether I'm playing NCAA football or I still play the show. My son is into Farm Simulator, so I'll play that because that game gets kind of like addicting because you just like it's very satisfying. It's really dumb, but it's satisfying. That's I've been spending a lot of time down in the basement playing, especially my franchise in NCAA football.
Oh yeah, that's the all timer.
Yeah.
I don't feel we have enough time anymore in our lives to dedicate to video games.
Yeah.
But they definitely dominated the better majority of some of our prime years.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
My video game time is exclusively after like 9:30 p.m. on on weekdays, and I end up staying up way too late doing it, and I regret it every morning, but I also don't. So
it's dad time only.
Exactly.
Or sometimes with the kids, if you're going to justify it that way.
A little bit, yeah. They do play with me sometimes. We have a Switch too, so we play a lot of like Nintendo games and stuff. So it's fun.
All right, Jay, what do you got?
So this is something I do on a daily basis before I fire up my work laptop, and before I check email or anything, I just want to prolong not working. And the first thing I do is fantasy sports.
Yeah,
it's
this is the
research, doing trades, all that, doing trade calculators and all that. The amount of hours I've logged in my life,
oh my god,
on fantasy sports is unfathomable. So, fantasy sports for sure.
That's a great one. I thought about I had that one on my list as well, especially this time of year. I've been combing the waiver wire to replace Joe Burrow the entire time. We've been like, who do I want to put money on? But more to come next week.
When you pull up the Yahoo app or whatever app you're on, like you have to look through everyone, and you'll even hit fantasy baseball. You'll hit those. Just make sure I hit my start active for the days, third the week. Check all of those things. Yeah, it's fantasy sports have become a major driver in all of our lives.
Oh, I'll tell you, if I'm in the airport waiting for a flight or something, you best believe I'm reading every note of every player in the match, even if it's old, it's not blue icon. I'm getting all those deets.
I don't know about you guys. So for the listeners, we're all in a fantasy basketball league with some of our friends as well, and I don't do any of this stuff for fantasy basketball. Fantasy basketball is set lineup, log off app.
That's 100% true. I couldn't tell.
I don't even set my lineup sometimes, but
yeah.
I don't even know why I draft. I just
every single year I get to like the fourth round. Like, well, I've never heard of any of these guys. Everyone's either washed up or I've never heard of them now. So, anyway, good pick.
All right, love it. Last pick. I don't think it's on anyone's list, but and you can call me psychotic or whatever, but one of my number one ways to waste time is to simulate conversations.
Totally normal.
Literally, I'm probably a psycho for this, but I have so many conversations with myself about things, whether it's work, home, with my dogs who can't even talk. We just fake conversations all over the place. So I simulate a ton of conversations and have a ton of fake conversations, whether it's sitting on my couch or walking around the house. Those are my favorite things to do. So there you go.
Gotta be prepared.
Always got to know what's coming next.
Infinite permutations. I already had this conversation with you, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Know what you're about to say.
You have no idea how dark this is about to get.
Yeah. Sir, would you like your coffee small or large? I already talked to you about this, bud.
Got to have the multiverse played out.
Absolutely. I like that.
All right. So that's going to do it. Podium list. We'll get that out to you guys. You guys can vote on who's winning. I don't know, Nick. I'd love to see some season stats on who's winning the polls of podium lists, but
I can tell you so I think we've done 3 of these now, maybe 4.
Yeah.
No, okay. 3 during this. Yeah, I think we've done 3, maybe 4. I know for a fact that Drew won the first 2, and I think I won last week.
I'll stop the count. Stop the count.
So I don't, Jay, maybe you'll get it this week. I don't know.
Right, yeah,
I also,
maybe.
The one thing about the Instagram reels, I could probably look it up, I guess. I don't know if I can look it up, but it doesn't once the story goes away, I can't just see it. So that's just the most recent count that I saw. So could be different, but
I know how to do it. If you go to, I'll show you how to do it. You could go to
I'm
archives.
sure I can figure it out, but
yeah.
I never have, but anyway.
Well, either way, we'd like to have more votes than about 6, and 3 of those being our own. So come on, guys. Come on, fans. Let's go ahead and tell us what you want to see here. But that's gonna wrap it up for the episode this week. I'm gonna close out some thoughts here, and I'm gonna start out with Jay. Close us out with your thoughts this week.
For sure. So I know we had about an hour's rant on all the negatives for the Bears. To pull it to some level of optimism, we know as seasoned NFL fans that the NFL can be a week-to-week league, right? And so you look ahead at the schedule, you have a Dallas team that's not that great, that was making Russ Wilson look like an MVP caliber type of a guy. You never know. Maybe after getting their asses blown out by 31 by the Lions, the Bears can bounce back, get their first W, and start getting some momentum here. It is week to week. It's a long season. There's a lot of reason to be really negative. There's also a little bit of reason to have a little bit of optimism that, hey, clean slate, week 3, start there, get your win, build a little momentum. Listen, we're going to be playing the Bengals, and Burrow's going to be out. There's paths to get some wins here, maybe. So hopefully in week 3, we can show up a little bit against the Cowboys, get that first win, and move from there.
Love it.
I like the surprising positive twist from you here after a lot of activity. I mean, we could have just kept digging the grave, but I appreciate that, Jay.
Yeah. It was needed.
I'm gonna wrap it up this week this show of did a lot. I think I've done more cleaning in my life over the last week and a half. I never want to move again.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we got a place, but I am of the stance, like everybody says it, like, yeah, moving sucks. We remember moving in college where we would just pay our friends in beer and pizza and they could come over and just help us out. No, I'm paying for movers. Let's get the hell out of here. I want to plant a flag in wherever I'm going, but I'm very excited to move. I know we're closing on the house tomorrow, but like moving is one of the worst things ever, right? Like,
truly is.
Like can't do it again. Don't want to do it again. So yeah, buy your forever home early, folks. When you're listening to this,
get it out of the way.
Get it done.
And Nick, what are you closing us out with?
Yeah. So my wife, Kate, was looking for a way, because she sees me watch football so intently on the weekends. She was looking for a way to kind of get a little bit of that. So we talked about some options because she thought a fantasy team was a little too involved for her and stuff like that. And then someone she knows was talking about how she's in a confidence pool. So I set up a confidence pool for her coworkers, and I'm kind of running it and they're all doing it. So I'll tell you that, when I'm doing like a confidence pool or like a survivor pool, it's kind of like low on my pecking order of things I care about. But like watching her, she's actually like, she got like really into the noon slate yesterday, like the closing of it. And it was cool to like kind of have all 4 of us, like me, my wife, and my 2 kids, like all on the couch, like having rooting interest and like rooting for games. It was a lot of fun. So just want to say shout out to that. That was fun. I enjoyed that. And I hope the enthusiasm continues all season, because there's nothing like watching a football game and having a close football game and having like a rooting interest in it. Football games get ugly and they're not fun to watch, but like a good football game, like that Giants Cowboys game or a close game, is just like you're glued to your TV. Every second matters. It's the best. So I just want more people to feel that. So do something to get involved.
And props to Kate for wanting to get involved in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. There's no money involved. It's all pride, but she's into it. So that's all I care about.
If only maybe I'm going to have my wife talk to your wife a little bit. Haven't been able to get her engaged in any way. Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for this this preview show of Barely Qualified. We'll be back with you on Thursday review show, but we'll be back with you on Thursday for the preview show of the Bears versus the Cowboys. And as always, everyone, we will catch you on the flip side. Thank you. Go Bears.
Thank you for listening to the Barely Qualified podcast. Like, comment, subscribe for more on a bi-weekly basis.